When life gets real, the mic stays warm. Hosted by the dad with lots of charm. Insights are sharp and data's tight. Lance already and the joke's online. Hot takes, real talk, keeping it true. From high school halls to podcast cues, live a little, learn a lot. Turn it up, this show is hot. Grab your coffee, let's get into it. No filter, no fluff, just real talk. Let's do it. Ready or not, here we go. It's time for Murph Man to start the show.
Right now we're good.
No, we're not. Can you hear me?
Yes?
On the microphone, can you hear me over there?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's turned green? I'm so sorry, everybody. Okay. Because I'm on mute, that I cannot hear anything right now. So let's get this started one more time.
When life gets real, the mic stays warm. Hosted by the dad with lots of charm. Insights are sharp and data's tight. Lance already and the joke's online. Hot takes, real talk, keeping it true. From high school halls to podcast cues, live a little, learn a lot. Turn it up, this show is hot. Grab your coffee, let's get into it. No filter, no fluff, just real talk. Let's do it. Ready or not, here we go. It's time for Murph Man to start the show.
All right. Let's see if we can get the show started.
Stop doing unrehearsed presentations. It's actively hurting your leadership presence. Welcome to Hot Takes. Today, we're talking about a guide to business etiquette, Part 2, navigating leadership and high-stakes events. When you step into leadership roles or high-visibility situations, etiquette becomes even more important. This episode helps you navigate events, mentor relationships, and public speaking with confidence and class. The fuse is lit. Murphman, take the mic.
And public speaking with confidence and class.
All right. Welcome back. That's right. Guide to Business Etiquette, Part 2. What do you think about that, Connor? Guide to Business Etiquette. How do you feel about that topic? We talked a little bit about it last week.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I think it's honestly good to know however you like it,
Okay.
because it's used in like almost everything, every job, anything you do.
Well, right. And you need to be able to get there and have your, what's the word I'm looking for? Have your leadership is going to be in question if you can't communicate properly. So that's part of what we're going to try to do here. Have your leadership. So last night, Connor and I went out and we met a comedian. Well, we've known him. And that comedian is Mark Britton. And that was the Chinaman we talked about so much. Remember? I got to tell you, I love the fact that I got to finally see him after probably about 20 years. It was crazy. What do you think of the comedian himself?
Interesting for a voice actor, I would say.
What was can you remember any of his jokes?
Rhubarb.
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 Rhubarb was something that his joke was. He went to his phone, and he says, I haven't come back to comedy in so long. I'm gonna read a joke. It's about rhubarb, and then never mind. But then throughout the whole show, he referenced that rhubarb for no reason. There was no joke. That was the whole point of it. I don't know if you caught on to that.
No.
You didn't catch on to that?
Funny.
What's that?
Oh, that's being funny.
Oh yeah, every time he brought it up, he meant to bring it up just to remind you that there's no joke. And then that's the joke, you know. We got him in after the show, and he is such a down-to-earth guy, right, Connor?
Yeah, I would say he's a chill guy. Honestly, he's nice. I didn't expect him to be more friendly. I don't know if that makes sense.
You expected him to be more friendly?
No, well, I didn't expect him to be friendly.
Oh, okay. I told you if you wanted to go out with him afterwards, we probably could have.
Yeah.
But you weren't interested in that. I don't know why, but it wasn't your thing, huh?
Mm-mm.
Your bag, your cup of tea. And yeah, so it's one of those things that last night I got to see the comedian, and he was funny. One of my favorite jokes is he imitates Schwarzenegger because he's a voice actor. And when he talks about, imagine Schwarzenegger playing Jesus. I'm walking in the water, right? But then he falls in the, he's walking in the water, and Peter says, I'll save you. He falls in the water, and Peter starts drowning, so Jesus, grab my hand. You know? And then as the joke goes on, he eventually gets crucified. And as he's up there, he says, I'll be back. That's one of my favorite jokes of his all time. That and Take Me to Dyer.
Take Me to Dyer.
What'd you think of that one?
Funny. I thought he was singing the original song at first. So I started singing with him, and I'm like, this is not the song.
For those of you who don't know, if you've ever been in El Paso here at Fort Bliss or here in the El Paso area, we have a street named Dyer, and it is partly famous because of the Devil's Triangle. That's where all the gangs, drugs, hookers all hung out. Oh my, drugs, gangs, and hookers. That was a really fun part of town. And yeah, he has some clubs and everything. And yeah, so he's been singing a song. He's been coming there since he was 19, 20 years old, 37 years. And now it's called the Angel's Triangle because they're trying to rebrand it. And they did. They cleaned up the neighborhoods. That was really cool about it. So, the night was fun. I just enjoyed myself. I got some pics and everything. I'm just very happy about that. One thing I do want to say before I start the show is Connor and I are not experts. We're just here talking about our lives. We have some topics to discuss. We have the show as we have our segments and whatnot. But our opinions are our opinions. And that's one reason I call it hot takes, is because hot takes doesn't match with the theme of college prep. But what it does do is it allows us to talk about something that people don't want to talk about. And that's quote unquote the hot takes that we talk about. It's not like we're going to be talking about, things that are going to really be burning your brain or not, but we might say some things. And sometimes we talk about subjects, we get off subject, or we talk about certain subjects and we get off topic. And sometimes we argue. And this is not a prepared show where we sit here and say, okay, you're going to say this, I'm going to say that. We talk about it. Excuse me. We don't talk about it ahead of time. We talk about it genuinely here, and our reactions are our true 100% reactions. So what you're getting is the real Murph Man and the real Connor. Don't Don't know if that's a good or a bad, but we'll see. And as far as our topic for today, we have Business Etiquette Part 2. Here, we're going to be talking about your leadership styles, okay, and high-stakes events. So let's go ahead and ignite that fuse.
Stop doing unrehearsed presentations. It's actively hurting your leadership presence. Welcome to Hot Takes. Today, we're talking about a guide to business etiquette, Part 2, navigating leadership and high-stakes events. When you step into leadership roles or high-visibility situations, etiquette becomes even more important. This episode helps you navigate events, mentor relationships, and public speaking with confidence and class. The fuse is lit. Murph Man, take the mic.
All right, so as we talk about this, that's exactly what my point is. We're going to be talking about all of that information. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. We have a very nice presentation for you. Let's go ahead and ask today's burning question to see what we need to discuss.
Let's settle this once and for all. Natural charisma or relentless preparation? Today's burning question is, what is executive presence? A, the ability to command a room with your voice. B, the combination of confidence, clarity, and composure that makes others trust your leadership. C, the ability to talk to a company's CEO. D, the ability to lead a team. The choices are on the table. Murph Man, what's the flashpoint?
Nice. All right, sorry about that. So let's settle on this once and for all. All natural charisma or relentless preparation. What do you think is more important? What's the executive presence about, Connor?
I think it's the combination of confidence, clarity, and composure that makes others trust your leadership.
Let's talk about that real quick. The confidence and the confidence, clarity, and composure that make others trust your hierarchy. Now, one of the things I will tell you is, as a leader, when someone has an issue and the way you present it, it's really strange because you don't realize sometimes how people look at things. We weren't in a crisis for this example I'm going to give you, but the clerk at the school and I were sorting 1,600 report cards by name. And we were like, there's got to be an easy way to do this whole process. And we said, what if we do it by teacher? What if we do it by this? What if we do it by that? And when I went to my principal and I said, hey, what do you think should happen here? We have an idea. We want to bounce it off of you. And she says, that won't work because of this, this, and this. And we were like, you're right. Thank you. Now, what's funny about that is she had years of experience, more than us. And she already knew what works, what doesn't. Right? I was actually showing the clerk a faster way to file. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Like, you get a stack of papers and you put them A through L and M through Z in 2 stacks. And then you get the L through Z and you just put that into 2 stacks. L through R, S to Z, and you do that. And before you know it, they're all alphabetized. A lot faster. She wasn't actually impressed with that technique, but that composure that you have is so important, because when someone looks at you with a problem, it's the respect you can get or lose at that moment is so important. The personal example of mine, excuse me. Who do you think you are, Mark Britton, sweating on stage? Anyway, my example is, one day I got a phone call from a school and said, Sean, we need you to come to the school today. I said, okay, what's going on? And they said, we have one of our workers died last night in a car accident. He was a very popular person in the Segundo Barrio. Everyone loved him. He lived there, and that's where the crash happened. So everyone got to see it. And she says, we need to come in and talk to the kids this morning. And I said, okay. So I get there. I walk into their office, and the counselors are like, we have more stuff going on. More? Like what? She says, we have a kid who was assaulted by his uncle last night. And we have a gang initiation this morning. And I said, well, that's easy. I'll call someone to help the kid. You already called for the police for the gang members. And here's what we're going to do today with the kids to help them cope with whatever we're dealing with the person who passed away. And the counselors were like, just like that, you have a plan? Sometimes it's experience, but it's also that composure, that clarity, that command of a room, that you have an ability to just take over the room. And I can do that, you know. And it was funny because in middle school, we have 6th and 8th graders. I did a presentation to them. It was about a 15-minute presentation to each grade level. Not one kid was disruptive to me. Okay. They had seen me in the hallways. They had talked to me. Some of my clients, but they all knew me. So when I went in to talk to them, everything went real smooth. You know, so carrying yourself in a professional manner is very important. But when you're a leader, you have to maintain that composure, stay calm. If you start freaking out, it's not going to work. And I've been described as the eye of a storm. Do you know why that's relevant?
No.
In a hurricane or tornado, the eye is still. There's no wind in it because the wind's going around it. So that eye can be like 11 miles long. It doesn't have to, it's not like a small hole like this. But I've been described as the eye of a hurricane. All hell's breaking loose around me. I'm calm as hell. And you've seen me do some things too. Accidents and stuff, right?
Yeah.
It comes with experience, comes with knowledge. But all the experience and knowledge in the world doesn't matter if you don't have the composure and the personality to take over, right?
Yeah.
You know, and one thing that's funny is, as we talk about this stuff, you think about the hot take for today. And as we talk about that, I want you to look at it, and I want you to realize, okay, what does it mean to me? So here's the hot take of today.
Everyone tells you executive presence is an innate trait, but the truth is it's a performance built on preparation. Today's hot take is this: executive presence is not an innate trait for a chosen few. It is a performance of confidence built on relentless preparation. The most compelling leaders aren't the most charismatic. They are the ones who have rehearsed their message until the conversation is boring to them. Murphman, it's your turn to fan the flames.
All right, so let's go over that one more time, all right? Today's hot take is executive presence is not an innate trait for chosen few. It's a performance of confidence built on relentless preparation. And the most compelling leaders aren't the ones that are most charismatic. They are the ones who have rehearsed their message over and over, and until the conversation is boring to them. Why would that be important? Well, the message that they're trying to send, if they get excited or something every time they bring up that topic, it's going to get a little boring. And you're not going to be really interested in any of that, you know. So it's one of those things that the leaders know what they're talking about, and they don't get flustered by questions, right? So let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
It's time for a break. Hot Takes with the Murphman will return after these messages.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Find us
us on the web at nbradio.us.
According to the VA's Suicide Data Report, an average of 22 veterans die by suicide every single day. This figure is a sobering reality and a crisis that demands our immediate attention and compassion. We must recognize and address the fact that every 24 hours, 22 veterans are losing their lives to suicide. The war doesn't always end when our veterans come home. The invisible wounds they carry, wounds that are real and heavy, require continuous support. No veteran should have to carry this burden alone. Many veterans experience stress and disconnection as they navigate life after service. But there is hope, there is help, and you are not alone in this fight. There's a vibrant community ready to support you, offering friendship, understanding, and shared experiences. You served your country, now let us serve you. Don't fight the toughest battle in silence. Your mission now is to reach out. Dial 988, then press 1. Text them at 838255. The Veterans Crisis Line is available 24/7. Every day, we save lives. Your life is invaluable, and your service is honored. Let's work together to make 22-0 again. No veteran should face their struggles alone. Together, we can ensure every veteran finds the support and hope they deserve.
He gets help, but he still feels off. Sees an ad on the TV about a dog batting said, "This is a man's best friend." Whoa, so he goes one day and he picks it up. Never thought a dog could bring so much love and put a smile on his face. But he's finally found a saving grace. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free. Put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can make 22-0 again.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at nbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at nbradio.us.
Before we get back to the show, we pause for something that matters to the Murphman deeply. He was inspired by Ryan Spencer's song, Make 22-0 Again. I'd like to remind you that help is always available, 24/7, 365. If you ever feel you need support or are in crisis, call 988 and press 1, or text 838-255. There will always be someone ready to listen. Remember, you are not alone.
Yes, that's right. Help is always available. Always available, right? 988, press 1. So I think we need to get to the point where we need to identify our terms that we're going to be discussing in today's show in our Ding Down the Goal segment. So stay tuned.
The ultimate guide to leadership etiquette in 4 concepts. Before we dig in, let's clarify some of the key terms we'll be using today while laying down the coals. Executive presence, the combination of confidence, clarity, and composure that makes others trust your leadership. Mentorship etiquette, the respectful, reciprocal behaviors that make mentoring relationships thrive. Event hosting, the art of making others feel welcome, informed, and included in professional settings. Situational mirroring, the skill of observing and matching the formal or informal communication tone of senior leaders in high-stakes environments. Now that the coals are laid, Murphman, let's discuss the foundation.
All right, so the ultimate guide here is executive presence, the combination of confidence, clarity, and composure that makes others trust your independence. Mentorship etiquette is the respectful and reciprocal behaviors that make mentoring relationships thrive. Event hosting is the art of making others feel welcome, informal, and included in professional settings. And the last is situational mirroring, the skill of observing and matching the formal or informal communication tone of senior leaders in high-stakes environments. Let's talk about each one of these. We talked about executive presence already, the combination of confidence and clarity. It's not always competency, okay, but sometimes it's how well they can handle a crisis. And that's the combination of confidence, clarity, and composure. Notice it doesn't say anything about knowledge there. Then you have the mentoring etiquette, the respectful, reciprocal behaviors that make mentoring relationships thrive. The respectful, reciprocal. That's the key word there. Goes both ways, from leader to employee, employee to leader. That make mentoring relationships thrive. All right. So respect the knowledge of the person training you. Respect the fact that the employees may not feel the same way as you. Event hosting, the art of making others feel welcome, informed, and included. You know, when I was doing trivia, one thing that I do is anytime anyone walks into the bar or the venue, I'm like, hey, new person, hey, what's up? Come on in, have a seat, play, whatever. And after a few times, the crowd will start doing it. And at this one bar, they have a ring a bell thing that we do. And I went in there and I did the thing. I do my thing where I greet people and everyone's ringing the bell. Very loud, very obnoxious, very interactive. Afterwards, the guy was like, that was really, really cool. I like the way you did that. And I said, well, thank you. I said, that's what I do. Everyone is different because whoever was working with him is a little different. So it's one of those things that can change, but you never really know. And the situational mirroring, the skills of observing and matching the formal or informal communication topic of senior leaders. Observing and matching. So, if someone's talking about something that you don't see as too important, it comes across in the message when you're talking to your supervisors. That, they're going to say, okay, this guy doesn't really care about what I have to say, But like I've always said, one of the best examples we can have is a story from the fire. So let's go ahead and show you all today's story from the fire.
The moment I realized winging it was all a lie. In today's story from the fire, when Jamal was asked to introduce a guest speaker at a campus event, he panicked. But after preparing a short, thoughtful intro and practicing his delivery, he nailed it and was later invited to co-host a leadership panel. He learned that preparation is the key to confidence. That was a story from the fire. Murphman, are you feeling the heat?
That is so true. That is so true. When you prepare to do something, that confidence comes across. When I used to do stand-up comedy, there were times where I tried to do jokes and people wouldn't laugh. And I tried to change the jokes. And it's not what I rehearsed. And I wasn't really good at the beginning of interacting with the crowd and changing up the style. With experience and a lot more preparation, I did a show for 45 minutes one day. And it was probably my best show ever. And unfortunately, I didn't record it. But it was a show that I knew was important. And I wanted to do my best. And I just treated it a little differently than every other night. Put a lot more work into it. And before I know it, there we are, doing the best show I ever had. And I had another show that I went for about an hour with a group of friends and visitors from out of town that all knew me. They all came to my show. So like this tiny bar, say it's 160 people capacity, 125 were my friends and family. And at that time, I did not prepare for it because I knew the topics I wanted to talk about and I knew what I was going to do, but I wanted to get the crowd involved. And I did. I recorded that show, and that's one of my best shows ever. I really, really enjoyed that show, and you could tell. But that confidence when you say something that everyone can relate to, you know, and that's the thing, like with comedians, when you're here in El Paso, we were talking about, you know, everyone talks about Mexicans or Latinos or whatever, you know. I have those jokes too. Everyone has their own little jokes. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're not. Even though it's the same exact joke, it's just a different crowd. And having that different crowd sometimes affects you. So think of that as a leader with your employee. You can't treat every employee the same. You have to think differently and interact differently with each of those. All right? So be aware of that. And right now, what I want to talk about is our heat map. The heat map is those call to action steps, those actionable steps you can take to actually help you become a more effective leader and have better business etiquette. So here's our heat map for today.
The 4-step playbook for mastering high-stakes events. The heat map will show you where to focus your efforts for the most impact. When hosting, greet guests at the door, clarify the agenda expectations early, and keep timing on schedule. In mentoring, show up with an agenda, ask thoughtful, open-ended questions, and explicitly express gratitude for their time. For public speaking, know your audience demographics, rehearse your delivery out loud, and focus on connecting over perfection. Active recall engagement. Test your audience's understanding during presentations rather than passively reading slides. The map is drawn. Back to Murphman for the next segment.
All right, so 4-step playbook for mastering high-stakes events. When hosting, greet guests at the door. Clarify agendas, expectations early, and keep that schedule on track. By taking the time to actually stand at the door and greet people as they come in, you just make it a little more personable. You also make them a little more engaged because they talk to people. And like last night, when I went to go see the comedian, one of the things he says, he's a Chinaman, and one of his favorite jokes is he calls you my ninja. And so I saw him, I was like, Chinaman, what's up? And he's like, my ninja, how you doing? And we started talking real quick, you know, and he was going around and just talking to people before the show, you know. And we got there an hour before the show because the tickets I had were the birthday tickets from the comedy strip, and you have to be there an hour early to guarantee seats. And I really, truly got there at 6:40. And we had VIP seats, so we sat in the VIP section. They took our order. We got to eat and chill before the show even started, which was really nice. Our waitress just had to bring us drinks, and I was way better and take 2 more, whatever. And I don't know if you noticed, Connor, it's just real hot right now. He's not feeling too hot, or, you know, he doesn't feel hot, but he feels hot. And he had to go and do something. I don't know where he's at, but they had these fans in the room, and it cooled it down, luckily. And but being there early, we were able to eat. And at one point, I just ordered waters, and I just told my waitress, bring me 5 waters. You got to pay for them individually. And she's like, 5? I'm like, yeah, 5. Just bring me 5. Shut up and just bring me 5 waters. And I did that twice. And I had to go to the bathroom 3 times during the show. And my kid Connor was there, and he's like, hey, are you okay? He kept going to the bathroom. And I said, I'm fine. I just drinking lots of liquids, lots of beers, lots of tequila shots, celebrating my birthday. And yeah, so it was a fun night. But like I said, he went in, he was talking to everybody at the door and talking to people around the club, before the show starts. So that's really cool about him. When you're mentoring, show up with an agenda, ask thoughtful, open-ended questions, and explicitly express gratitude for their time. Now, that goes back to number 1 also. Well, not number 1, to the other one where we talked about keep the schedule on track. There's nothing worse when you do an agenda that says from 10 to 10:05 is this, 10:05 to 10:15 is this, 10:15 to 10:22, and you don't even start on time. Well, I don't, if I'm supposed to be out of here at 9:30 and it's 9:10 and you're barely starting, you need to get it done by 9:30. Respect us that we do this show on time. We were there early, you should start on time. Last night, the comic strip, we delayed the show by probably about 30 minutes because El Paso had a really bad thunderstorm. And we're talking like an inch fell in 10 minutes in one part of town. So like there was flooding everywhere, and it was really, really bad last night. And so they decided to kick the show off 30 minutes later. And they just said, hey, you guys, we're waiting for people to come because, the storm hit, whatever. And please bear with us, But like I said, they had comedians walking around doing their jokes and everything. So it kept us engaged. When you're doing public speaking, know your audience demographics and rehearse your delivery aloud and focus on connecting rather than perfecting. You need to have that engagement. One of the things that I tell people when you're doing public speaking is you go out there and you talk about a certain subject, right? And as you're discussing it, okay, you look at a person in the crowd, and then not just look through the crowd. I meant like you look at a person, like you're talking to that person. You look at another person, you look at a person in the back of the room, look at the person in the front of the room, but look at them and focus on them. It makes them connect more with you as a crowd. And it also, keeps you going. Now, what's funny is comedians, if you ever go to a comic show, comedians usually have their script set from the beginning to end. Doesn't matter what's being said or done, right? That's their act. And if you watch them 5 nights in a row, you're going to see the same act 5 nights in a row. They might have a variation or two every now and then, based on the crowd reaction or something. But they practice it to the point where, for example, one of their jokes will say something like, oh my God, you're that guy I bumped into in the bathroom, right? There's no guy there that he's pointing at specifically. He's just, it's his act. And it's pretty funny, And last but not least, active recall engagement. Test your audience's understanding during the presentation rather than passively reading slides. Well, how do you know if they're even listening to you? How do you know if someone's listening to you when you're up there talking in a meeting, in a 2-person conversation, in an auditorium with 3,000 people? How do you know people are listening? Is you check for understanding. You don't just say, everyone cool with what I'm saying? You understand everything? No. Does anyone have any questions about this? Does anybody want to say something about this? So you ask a specific question that you'd like an answer to. And if you're not getting feedback, that means you're not doing a good job presenting your material. So it's one of those things that you got to be real careful about. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to discuss the pitfalls you might have when you're trying to do these steps. So we will be back after these messages.
Don't make these 3 high-stakes mistakes that cost me my credibility.
It's time for a break. Hot Takes with the Murphman will return after these messages.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at nbradio.us.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.us.
Let me tell you a little bit about MB Radio and Military Broadcast Radio. If you're a veteran and you want to start a podcast, come check us out. We would be happy to help you get a podcast going, teach about doing a podcast. It's just one of those things that I think is important for everybody, right? So it's important to do that. And just if you're interested, hit up mbradio.us and you can check some information out. Now, I want to talk about those places you're going to get burned and those pitfalls you're going to have in our segment called Where You'll Get Burned.
Don't make these 3 high-stakes mistakes that cost me my credibility. Let's talk about where you'll get burned. These are some common pitfalls. Winging it. Failing to prepare and rehearse beforehand. A little preparation goes a long way toward protecting your composure. Making it about you. Focusing on your own performance instead of service and connection. Your primary job as a leader is to make others feel seen. Forgetting to follow up. Failing to send prompt thank you notes or next step summaries. Following up proves you are thoughtful, organized, and reliable. Danger zone identified. Back to Murphman for the warning.
So you don't want to make these 3 mistakes. Winging it. I've talked about this repeatedly, is preparing for a presentation. Connor, have you ever had a situation where you were talking about something at school and you had to give a speech? No.
Never did speech.
You never did speeches? You were in speech. How do you not do speeches?
I was speech from my
professional communication.
Yeah.
That's speech.
Well, the class, I guess.
Yeah. He had to do 8 speeches.
That's true.
Right? So how do you miss out on that? Yeah, like how do you miss saying, I miss all these speeches I forgot I gave them?
Well, it was kind of like a mess up, like a not professionally joke, I guess you could say.
You winged it. Basically doing what I'm telling people not to do, right?
Yeah.
You know, there is a segment called impromptu speech where they give you a topic and they say talk about it. And it can be very random, like, all right, your topic is bananas, go. Right? So you got to talk about bananas. If I told you that was the first thing you would say about a banana.
I don't know.
Well, start talking about banana. You got 1 minute to go.
Like about any banana?
Yeah, just talk about bananas.
Bananas are yellow. They're the best fruit in smoothies. You can make a lot with bananas. Bananas and monkeys are equal.
What do you mean they're equal?
One monkey always has 1 banana with them.
There was an
They walk around with a banana?
Yeah,
Not always, dude.
most of them.
I've never seen a monkey with a banana in real life, ever.
Really?
Really. In real life, like in front of you.
Yeah. Oh. I don't think I have either.
That's my point. It's good. So you're just making up stuff, right? You're winging it, but sometimes that's what you have to do. All right. If you give me any subject, make it as random can be.
Pine cone.
Pine cones. You know what's really cool about pine cones is when I went to the forest over in Ruidoso, I was able to collect pine cones and I made my own potpourri. I got certain woods, certain flowers that had a lot of scent to them, put them in a bowl, let them dry, and it scented the room. And the pine cones are really cool because you know how there's pine cones that are like very tight and they're very pushed together? Mine were very separate and they were open. It was really cool to see that because they had bloomed already and all the seeds were gone. You know. And the other thing is, when I was a kid, we would throw pine cones at each other when we were in the forest, like grenades. See, it's not that hard. What?
Nothing.
Why do you laugh?
No, nothing.
Did I catch you off guard with that story or what?
No.
What are you laughing about?
Nothing.
You're laughing about something.
I don't know.
All right. Don't make it about you. When I know I talk about myself a lot. I get that. When I'm doing a presentation, I try to use other examples besides myself. And also following up. If someone asks you a question or something, follow up with them. I met a lady one time at a bar and I talked to her about AI and everything. And she was so condescending to me, looking down on me and everything. And I was just like, wow, that's how you treat people. I sent her an email, like a summary of our conversation, telling her thanks for taking the time to talk to me. Didn't even reply to me. So when I see her again, do you think I'm going to give her the attention she needs?
No.
No, I'm not. But yeah, it's all of that is all part of that professional etiquette is don't wing it, prepare, follow up, and make it about the person you're teaching or talking to. Okay. If I do something wrong, tell me I'm doing something wrong. Right? Tell me how to fix it if I don't know how to fix it. But you can also say, all right, this is what happened. You were wrong because of these reasons. What would you do different next time?
Not do the wrong thing.
But how would you make that corrective action? And you make it about the person, not about anything else. You're trying to teach that person to be a better employee. So keep that in mind when we talk about this. Okay. What's his name? The teacher on South Park.
I don't know. I don't watch it.
You don't watch it?
Mm-mm.
I know that, but you don't remember his name. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Since we talked about those pitfalls where you're going to get burned, let's talk about those heat shields that will help you protect yourself and avoid those pitfalls.
Deploy the prep for ultimate protection. Here are your heat shields. Your high-stakes shield is the 5-point preparation. Deploy this strategy by securing 5 things before any big meeting or event. Clear objective. Define the single desired outcome of the event. Key talking points. Draft 3 bulletproof statements you must deliver. Attendee context. Research the background and names of key stakeholders attending. Strategic question. Prepare one thoughtful question to ask senior leaders. Follow-up framework. Draft a template email ready to send within 24 hours. The shields are up. Murphman, what's next?
All right, so we're back. Let's talk about those heat shields to help you prevent getting burned. We have a 5-point preparation. And deploy the strategy by by the crew. This is sick. Hold on. My mouth is not working. By securing 5 things before your big meeting or event. 1, clear objective. Define the single desired outcome of the event. That's number 1. 2, key tasking points. Draft 3 bullet point statements you must deliver. And I don't know if you notice when I do my show, most of the time I have 3 bullet points. 3 to 4. Attendee context. Research the background and names of stakeholders attending. Okay. Strategic question. Prepare your thoughtful question to ask senior leaders. If you're in a huge meeting where there's 100 people, not everyone's going to get a chance to ask a question. But if you do get a chance to ask a question, it's nice to be prepared and have that question ready to go. And follow up. Draft the template email ready to print out or send out within 24 hours. Okay. And the reason I was saying 5 points, there was only 4 there. I forgot to make one a bullet point. I was like, 5 points. And then you look at the screen, it's only 4. It's like, oh, crap. You know, yeah, so those are the heat shields, okay? It's something I've been talking about the whole show. I want to be able to know my audience, know who's going to be there, and talk. And one of the times where I used to work, I had to go to court. And they were going to hold me in contempt of court because I wasn't doing what the judge said. But I was following the rules set forth by my organization. So when I got subpoenaed for court, I told my boss he better be there. And I told him, make sure your boss is there too. So we had the team leader, the mental health side leader, and the CEO of the company even went in. And they all sat there next to me in court. I wasn't the one in trouble because I was the one managing the case. But I had my whole leadership there with me. And someone asked me a question, why did you do this? And I said simply, I was asked to do this because of this person putting this guy forward. He's standing next to me. So the judge was like, you know, it was a small court. He goes, can I ask you guys a question? They're like, yeah. He tells the guy, why did you do it? Because my boss told me to do it. And then the last guy was the CEO. He says, why did you tell him to do that? He says, because that is what I need to get done. And then they came back to me, and I had better answers than everybody. Because it wasn't just because we were told to do it. We were doing this. There's a difference, right? So the way you answer it, doesn't matter who's there next to you. You need to have your points set up and know what people are going to be there so you can also answer questions about that kind of stuff. You know, if you work at Kmart and their regional managers coming in to visit, right? They tell the store, hey, make sure the store is extra clean today. Well, if I'm doing my job all the time, it should always be good, right? So, yeah, it's one of those things. As I've been talking here today, I've been a little distracted by you because you're not feeling too well. But I appreciate you for being here. You know, thank you. Earlier I was talking and I turned to ask you a question. I'm like, oh, he's gone. But Connor can tell you, when I set up for the podcast, I don't just make slides and whatever. I research them a little bit. I go through and I read them, and usually I don't have mistakes, but there's always one mistake somewhere, right? Yeah. That's just attention to detail that I miss out sometimes. But yeah, you know, so just keep that in mind when you're doing a presentation. Make sure you know who's going to be there and what you're going to say. Because the worst thing you can do is go and say, I don't know, or try and wing it. Because when you're in a room with professionals, they can call BS real quick, right? I was at a conference one time and I was doing a presentation on stress management. And that's what I called it, stress management, straight up. And people came in because they wanted to hear about stress management. Some people came in because all the other rooms were full, right? And the room just got filled up with like 40 people. You know, it was like 30 seats. Some people were standing throughout the whole show. And I started talking about stress management in the way that I do things. And it was just funny because everyone looked at me like, they're all professionals. They know exactly what I'm talking about. But for professionals to come to you and say, you know, you're making me think of doing things a little different. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You know, so just think about that kind of stuff. You know your stuff and you'll be respected, even by people who are your peers or above you in certain ways. So let's talk about that afterburn for today. All right. Afterburn is the reflection questions we have.
Reflect on your presence before stepping into the room. In today's Afterburn, here are 4 questions for you to reflect on. How do I want to be perceived in high-stakes leadership moments? What's one upcoming event I can prepare for right now using the 5-point framework? Who can I learn from by observing their executive presence in meetings? How can I transition my feedback-seeking behavior from reactive to proactive? Reflection complete. Murph Man, time for your final thoughts.
All right, so let's go over these slides or these points again. How do I want to be perceived as a high-stakes leadership moment? What do you want people to take away about you in that meeting? You know, do you want everyone to walk away going, wow, he really explained it in a way we understood? Do you want people to say, what the hell was he talking about? Do you want people to say, you know, I never thought about it that way, right? And one of my favorite things I did was there was a presenter that talked about McDonald's, and he pulls a burger out of the McDonald's, he pulls the fries, he pulls out a Coke, and then he looks and goes, there's no straw in here. He goes, oh, there it is. And then he pulls out the straw that's 4 or 6 feet long from a little bag, right? And I said, I want to do that joke. I want to do that joke. And I've never done drugs in my life. Ever, 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 ever. And I say that because one of my jokes is, you know, my mom told me to stay away from drugs.
Yeah.
So I pull out the straw from my pocket. This helps me stay away from drugs, you know, because it's like longer. Right? You get it? Yeah. You know what? You know me. I'm not serious, but I need people to respect me in a meeting. And it's not always about being professional and perfect and talking. It's sometimes how you engage in the audience. And you can be funny. You don't have to be like all serious all the time. All right, next one. What's one upcoming event I can prepare for right now using the 5-point framework? Right? I have presentations I have to do about my business. I know down the road I have to do some. You're going back to school this semester. You have your points. I have my points for my job going back to school starting Monday, which really sucks. Now, I love my job. I just hate going back to work after all summer off. And with that being said, understand that, you know, the 5-point framework will help you get through a lot of stuff if you prepare for it. And what can I learn from observing others' executive presence in meetings? See how people handle themselves, right? Like I told you about my CEO where I used to work, he would park furthest from the parking lot and walk in. He didn't do it for exercise, he did it because he says, I want the employees to be closer. That's great leadership by example. You know, when he would talk, people respected him because he wasn't a jerk. You know, at one point he told us there are going to be no raises this year and we have to cut back. And we were like, oh, damn. Well, we wouldn't have done that if we didn't have to, right? In another meeting, though, they handed out everyone's name, address, and phone number for every employee in the company, just in case you need to get a hold of them. I raised my hand immediately. I said, I have a huge problem with this. I do not want anyone in this room having my contact information and knowing where I live. I said, that is very inappropriate. And I was angry. I mean, I was angry. And he wasn't presenting, the HR person was, but he stood up and he looks at me and goes, you're right, Sean. He goes, just everyone return the papers. Hopefully no one took our screenshots or something. But imagine if like the CEO gave you his home address and you wanted to go egg it or break his windows or trash his car. You don't want that information out there, right? Yeah. Because as I said it, he realized like, oh yeah, this was not a good idea. The intended purpose, but I was angry. And my boss was like, she's sitting next to me and she reaches up and she's like, calm down.
That's funny, dude.
And I wasn't rude, but I had a real issue and I needed to stop it as soon as they started handing out the papers. It wasn't a thing I'm going to wait to see, oh yeah, I'm there. No, stop. I have a problem. And I just took over that moment, right? And then my CEO jumped in and said, you're right. And he gave his little speech and everybody was happy. But I knew I had the permission to jump in there for him because people respected me enough to know that I don't say anything unless I mean it. And if there's an issue. And last but not least is how can I transition my feedback seeking behavior from reactive to proactive? Do you know what reactive and proactive is, Connor?
No.
All right, let me talk about that real quick. Reactive and proactive is a perfect example is my Ethernet cable in my office. After running across the aisle, right? And I know that you're going to have problems crossing during the day, right?
Yeah.
Reactive is you trip on it. I say, hey, careful. You're going to trip on the wire. It's too late. You already did it. Proactive is saying, hey, careful. There's a wire there. Don't step on it, right? But even more proactive is removing the wire. And that's one reason is this extender I got here. I'm connected on my Ethernet cable to the extender. So I'm going to buy one for my desk. And that's the one I'm going to use. Like that, the wire doesn't have to cross over.
Yeah.
That's worth $5 to me a month. 60 a year. $360 for while you're in college and living with me. And at that time, you can leave and I can have the wire wherever I want. Anyway, all right. So that's the afterburn. Those are the reflective questions we talked about. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the digital inferno and how technology can help you in these situations.
It's time for a break. Hot Takes with the Murphman will return after these messages.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Bar stools, cigarette smoke, where the dive bar band's playing all the wrong notes. Them dollar bills still hanging on the wall. This ain't no place for her kind at all. She had them red bottoms on in this blue collar town. There's only two reasons why girls like her come around. She either took a wrong turn back in Austin, or she's looking for love cause she lost it. We were two flames burning, red wine and bourbon, leaning on each other for a little southern comfort, just trying to set the mood right under the neon moonlight. She was chasing that freedom, love a man, leave him, trying to make her mine by the end of the night. I'm a good line away from her number, trying to keep her from being
for a little southern comfort. Just trying to set the moon right under the neon moonlights. She was chasing that freedom, love a man, leave him, trying to make her mine by the end of the night. I'm a good line away from her number, trying to keep her from being single this summer. Single this summer.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Before we get back to the show, listen up, El Paso. Many things are coming to El Paso, and you want to stay in the loop. We are setting up trivia, bingo, and karaoke coming to locations near you. Follow us on all the social media platform at purehottakes.com to stay updated.
All right, welcome back. Let's talk about our digital inferno, those technology things that we can use to help us do better as business etiquette is concerned.
Automate your post-event follow-up. High-stakes events require immediate professional digital follow-up. Use LinkedIn immediately after an event to send personalized connection requests to key leaders you met, referencing a specific point from your conversation. For presentations, host your deck on cloud services like Google Drive or Notion and send the link via email within 24 hours. Furthermore, utilize AI tools like Grammarly to check your tone and conciseness, ensuring your post-event messaging projects polished executive presence. The inferno is digital. Back to Murph Man to talk about the segment.
All right, we are back. Digital inferno. Connor and I are looking at some stuff, and we just got a package delivered. Can you open that package for me real quick, Connor?
Right now.
Yeah. Right now. I want to show you what it is. And then I thought there was another package that was delivered yesterday that's not out there, or so he says. And I'm like, what?
How do you open this?
Here. Do you remember the other day when we had the new printer case?
Yeah.
And you had to tear down the sides?
Yeah.
That's what this is. I want to show you this. I want everyone here to be part of this. Are you ready?
Make it to a full face camera.
Thank you. None. Maybe I got them.
This one's closed.
I got my new business cards for my business. I'll close that.
Yeah.
I think it looks better. What do you think? I think it's the same.
It counts the same to me, but I see a little bit.
I didn't want to go too dark, so I went a little brighter. So anyway, let's get back to Digital Inferno. Speaking of technology, I got my business cards now. So I'm happy about that. So use LinkedIn immediately after an event to send personalized connection requests. You know, people are using LinkedIn for everything nowadays, right? And to go, hey, what's your LinkedIn profile? People go and they'll add you right then and there. I'm like, yeah, but don't message me there because I don't go there. It also says, have your high-stake events require immediate professional digital follow-up. when you think about follow-up and those customer care surveys, when you go to Walmart and make an order for pickup, as soon as they check you out, you get an email that says, how did we do? That's immediate feedback, immediate request for feedback, immediate response that, all right, I'm stopped right now because I'm getting the groceries, right? It takes me a couple seconds just to answer that one question. Perfect, right? Now, have you ever been on the call? And I don't think you've had this happen, but how did we do today? Please answer from 1 to 5. 5, did good. Did the representative, did you have any, I'm like, hang up, like, just, there's a thing of follow-up and there's surveys and everything, but I'm going to answer the one question after I'm done with my phone call. I don't need to have it prolonged by 2 minutes, Yeah. Also, for presentations, host your deck on cloud services like Google Drive or Notion and send the link via email within 24 hours. Here's the copy of my sheet. Boom, done. Okay. I got to put my stuff on my website after the show's done. And furthermore, utilize all tools like Grammarly to check your tone and conciseness, ensuring your post-event messaging projects polished executive presence. I can't tell you that attention to detail is so important in so many things that we do today, because you don't realize that everything is digital. Everything is being sent digitally. And when you have an email you send out or anything, people are looking at that and it tells them a lot about you. I have a friend of mine who asked me for a letter recommendation. So here's a letter I wrote. What do you think? It's just, can you change this? Yeah. And I used AI for it, like I do everything else, right? And it was funny because, It was funny because I use AI for everything. And I paid $100 for Google Ultra. Okay. Now my business is paying for Google Ultra. I can't use it for personal stuff. I can deduct 90% of whatever. So I think I'm going to get another Google plan for $20 a month, for $15, $20 a month. And that one I can use for personal reasons. Do I want to spend that money? Not really, but I need Google for me. Right? But using AI, excuse me, using AI is a big part of what we do today. And what I would do is, if I want to present, right, I would take a picture of the room from different angles, right? And I would ask AI to animate it with everyone jumping up and clapping and celebrating, right? Then I have a video on my computer. So when I get called up there, they're going to say, now it's time for the Murph Man. I said, hey, y'all, before I begin, I want to show you I'm a time traveler. This is how it's going to be at the end of the show. And then have the cameras panning all the different people clapping and jumping up and whatever. I think that would be funny, right? And they're going to know it's AI because obviously they haven't done that. But you got to be careful when you're using AI because, like, I had a friend that he likes to play with AI, and he put a picture of a girl on his friend's lap and sent it to him, and his wife saw the picture. Who's that hoe that's sitting on your lap? He goes, I don't even know where the picture came from. AI can be dangerous, but it can also be very helpful too. Like Grammarly, read your grammar, read your letters, correct your spelling, check it for conciseness. You don't want it to be too long, too short, whatever. And that's very important. So we'll keep that in mind. Okay. Do you have any questions about AI or anything today?
No, not really.
Not really? Well, that business card that I had, I actually showed it to Gemini. And I said, how is this? And it says, what program are you using? I said, this one. I said, okay, you need to change the spacing here. You need to change this, this, and this. Okay. And it gave me like details of letter spacing between the letters, adjusting that. it can do so much for you to help you to make you look really good. And I think those cards look great, so I'm very happy with that. All right, so we're gonna get to the final burn here, and we're gonna end the show a little early today. We have a birthday party to go to. My niece has the same birthday as me, and we're celebrating it today. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's time for a break. Hot Takes with the Murphman will return after these messages.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
She's from Alabama, I caught her red-handed, drinking whiskey on Saturday night. I can't imagine I'm overreacting, she's losing her mind. I met her mama and told her about her problems, how it's happened now a couple of times. And girl, I'm sorry, I'll be gone by the morning, cause you ain't the marrying type. Well, she's got a way with words and I know it hurts, so boy, just protect your pride. And girl, that's the way it works, and we ain't the first ones tricked by the morning light. So we came up, make love, then we take some, stay up, wake up all the neighbors. Yeah, I swore I was done with her, but she's got a way with words. Yeah, she's got a way with words, and I swore I was done with her, but she's got a way with words. I wasn't honest, if I'm being honest, I fed her a couple of lies. And now she's calling me, going on and on about another guy. So I take the bottle off the counter and I pour one. She's the only reason that I always gotta pour up. And ain't it funny that I bought the bottle for us? I'm the only one who's drinking now, baby. Well, she's got a way with words and I know it hurts. So boy, just protect your pride. And girl, that's the way it works, and we ain't the first ones tricked by the morning light. So we came up, make love, then we take some, stay up, wake up all the neighbors. Yeah, I swore I was done with her, but she's got a way with words. Yeah, she's got a way with words, and I swore I was done with her, but she's got a way with words. Yeah, I swore I was done with her, but she's got a way with words.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
All right, we are back. Today's final burn. Let's get to that.
Know your worth, show your work. The final take from today's discussion is leadership isn't about the spotlight. It's about stewardship. Show up prepared, stay grounded, and make others feel seen. The final flame has been struck. Back to Murphman to wrap the show.
All right, so the final burn for today is leadership isn't about the spotlight. It's about stewardship. Show up prepared, stay grounded, and make others feel seen. You know, the worst thing that a leader can do is not listen to the employees. You know, there's, I told you before, you know how you have businesses say we're like family?
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine whose mom just died this week. And I haven't worked with her in over 10 years. Okay. we've kept in touch over the years, here and there, gone to a few parties, whatever. I just sent her a message that said, hey, I just heard about your mom. I'm sending you a message. I'm not going to ask a stupid question like, how are you feeling? I know you feel like crap. But as always, you know, if you need to talk to someone, I'm here for you. And let me know if you need anything. Done. My old boss that worked with us, she called me or texted me yesterday. And she asked, do you have her number? Well, I didn't message her, right? I don't know if she wants to stay in touch with us or not, right? But she messaged me and asked me for the number, and I gave it out. Normally I don't give out phone numbers, but I know that one is okay to give out. And it was funny because, like I said, this boss who hasn't really probably kept in touch with us as much as we would like to, friend-wise, right? But she takes time out of her day to call my friend and check in on her. You know, imagine how she was working with us. How cool was she, right?
Yeah.
So you don't really think about that as a boss, but don't say your family when, you know, try to get people to do things for you. But you can be close and care for each other, right? And we knew we were important to her. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So when she would tell us to do stuff, we didn't have a problem with it because that was what she needed from us. So we were more likely to do things for them than without. Okay. Another thing is, like, when I was in Cuba, I worked with officers, and they respected my opinion as lower ranking. And I have so many examples of that. But there was this one time where this colonel was the clinic director at the base we were at, and one of the soldiers died that was there for training, and they brought the mental health team in from his department, right? And I was there, and I had to do everything. There was still 4 people higher ranking than me, and I was giving them orders on how to do what we needed to do. Why? Because I knew what needed to be done. They didn't. And rank didn't matter to me, even though it matters, right? You're not going to disrespect it. But I saw them as professionals and peers that needed the information. And I answered their questions and everything. And it was funny because, well, not funny, right? But this guy's a psychiatrist. Years of training. And what happened to the soldier was massive head injuries. And the person tried doing CPR on him, but the head wasn't connected, right? And they asked a straight up question, was he decapitated? And I said, all we know is that he died of massive head injuries. That's when we asked that question. She goes, well, there's a lot of rumors going on. And I said, that's what we're doing here today. We're clearing up all those rumors. So what other questions do you guys have? And there was 30 of us in the room, you know, and everyone had their questions about what happened, and they were blaming the girl, and you know, yes and no, you know, one of those things. But they had questions because of the rumor mill. And rumor mill, that's what it's called. Do you know what a mill is? Okay, you've seen like a waterfall? Not waterfall, a wagon wheel that spins in the water and has water in it, right? That's a mill. It's constantly spinning. And yeah. Anyway, we're strangers they're mental health from the unit. I'm from another state.
Yeah.
How do you command that presence for leadership immediately? Right? And the colonel that I was working with, Lieutenant Colonel, they asked him that question, was this soldier decapitated? And the look on his face was like, how do I answer this? Do I say yes? Do I say no? And I just jumped in and I just said massive head injuries. Afterwards, he was like, what made you say that? And I'm like, am I wrong? Did I lie? Because we're not supposed to lie.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, I stressed the truth a little bit. And I said, but did I lie? He goes, no. And you gave an answer that was very respectful of everybody. So he's like, I want to learn more. Tell me more about this. So I actually would go see him a couple of hours a day when I was there. I was there for, a whole month. And no, I was there for 2 weeks. What was it, a month? I guess, yeah, probably about a month. I don't remember how many, 3 weeks. Let's just say 3 weeks. So a couple of days a week, I'd go over and talk to him and train him on how to do this and the team and everything. And I was quote unquote the expert. Rank had nothing to do with it, but it was just my knowledge, my preparedness for situations. And I told you about when I went to Somalia, the colonel was like, oh, you're Murphy. Yeah. I actually, the chief, the metal guy, the main guy in the department knew who I was. That's really cool. But anyway, you guys, I think that's it for today. What do you think, Connor? I know you're not feeling too hot today.
Oh, no, I'm feeling hot today, yeah.
But earlier you were going, I said, he's not feeling hot, but he's feeling very hot. Yeah. But thanks for sticking around for half the show.
Yes, so I'm so sorry about that.
It's okay. We got it. I don't think, it was a big deal. I was able to keep doing what I'm doing. I just didn't have anybody to talk to. And that's one reason we're finishing short, because I had no conversation.
I'm so sorry.
All right. But you guys stay tuned for us. We watch this every week at 10 a.m. Mountain, 12 Eastern. So if you're interested in watching us, stay tuned. And for now, just one more commercial break, and then we'll go to end the show.
Before we wrap up, here's a reminder. Hot Takes with the Murphman streams live every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern with Military Broadcast Radio. At mbradio.us, we give veterans a voice and help them launch their own podcasts. Check out all our socials at pureHotTakes.com to connect with the community and stay locked into the show.
Thank you for watching today's episode. Check us out on all social medias at Pure Hot Takes or go to purehottakes.com for more information.
That's a wrap on this episode. If you're looking for more, you can find all the best clips from the show on our social media pages. For all the links and more information about what we talked about today, visit purehottakes.com. And if you want to watch the full replay or get access to our premium content, subscribe now at stream915.com. We appreciate you tuning in.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.